Welcome to Caching Waves. This is your update for Bitcoin. Now, I'm out on a daily, and since the low, this is my current count. It's been adjusted a couple times just for the fact that we have to adjust in real time based on the waves that fill out, right? The price action we get. Now, first looking at this, I'll give you my count. We had a 1-2 in blue. We had a smaller 1-2 on the next time frame, and we're working on the third wave of that second 1-2 currently. Now, looking at targets on this, you can see it looks like it doesn't make any sense. Like our third wave in blue should be at, 76,025. This is on log scale. So what I've done, and this should make sense to you once you see it, is we're working on log scale for our blue 1-2, but on linear scale for our green 1-2. Now, if I expand this out, you can see what I'm talking about. So pulled the pivots from our second 1-2, and you can see our third of the third is at 77,500 basically. I mark that out in red so you can see that, in which case we're expecting a sideways consolidation in either a flat or a triangle for our fourth wave, and then our fifth wave targets of the third is between 86,691 and 95,886. So I've marked out those territories in linear scale. And if we go back to log scale, we can see our red line there for our third lines up with 76,625. And our fifth in green for our third in blue lines up right around this, the 1.786 and the 200, right in between that zone, which would top in a third, which would make ideal fib levels pretty much for this third wave in blue. So that's what I'm looking at. Again, took a while to figure out what scale we were looking at, but it makes sense now. Working on linear for this one, log on this one. And if something changes, it gets more impulsive. Obviously, we have to adjust and consider the fact that it could be working on log, but right now it's ideally working on linear, which is the important thing. So we have to look at the evidence and make our decisions based on the evidence. And the evidence shows me this currently. Now we're not getting any real divergence yet, so that looks good for the bulls as well. Okay, so we'll go on the smaller time frames in a moment, but you can see we're also respecting this pitchfork very nicely, and it lines up almost ideally for Friday-ish to get a larger correction that we get up to the third wave zone. So we will see. I'll go down to the hourly. This is we're on our, the way I have it is our last fifth wave in this third, currently in the middle of the fourth. So off the last pivot there at 38,566, we had a wave 1, 2, very extended 3. It divides up into 5 nicely, although wave 1 was the extended wave, and now working on our fourth, which should eat up a little more time, and go up for our fifth there at around 77,500. So we'll zoom into the 15-minute. Come on. There we go. So we've been tracking this for quite a while. The one concern I have is that we get one more low in the alts and those trade setups fail. So maybe tighten up stops if you're in those. Not financial advice, just what I would suggest in case we get this C wave flash crash here before recovering, which is my bias currently. Obviously that can change, and maybe we just got a short fourth and it's complete over here, but it doesn't look right in time, so I expect it to take a little more time here. Now, we put on our B zone, which is between 71,600 and 73,250. This move doesn't really look impulsive currently, and that's where we're 50-50-ish, because this could also turn into some sort of fifth wave diagonal, right? We got a lot of chop. It could either be a B wave or the start of some sort of diagonal for our fifth. So we'll see what we get, but ideally what I'd like to see is this. And how you'd look for an entry. We pull our fibs from the beginning of our A to the end of our A, and whenever this does pivot, we target between the 618 and the 1-to-1, probably a little higher than the 1-to-1 if we come up to this zone, because we want to stay within this pitchfork for our fourth. Pitchfork indicates us gives us indication when a wave could possibly be done. So if we start to fail out of it and consolidate underneath, that could be the end of this entire wave, right? It's just early indication, warning signs for us. So that's what I'm looking for. I want to see this in a nice 3 or 5 in similar amount of time as this wave here, because we're looking for a matching leg before we can look for an entry to the upside for the 77,000-ish targets there, 77,500. So taking this wave by wave right now, but everything's doing exactly as we expected. But again, my concern for the alts is if we haven't bottomed and we need, one more micro leg down, we might get it if we get this C wave drop. But I do not want to see this A wave broken to keep this count intact. The only way it can break is if we get like some sort of flash crash and we get bought up in like a very quick candle where we're just stop hunting all these guys here and it gets reversed very, very quickly, and then we just have an expanding flat. But if it comes down and closes below, yeah, that's big trouble for this count. So yeah, this looks good though. Looking for this move back up to our 77,495, and then I'd like to consolidate above, and we eventually get our fifth. So we should be kind of range bound here between 64 and 77,500 for the next month or so. And this is the area where I think all the alts take off and do very well against Bitcoin, because if you watch historically, when Bitcoin is consolidating is when usually the alts take off. It's just money moving around from one asset to the other, right? So let's look how that looks on the larger time frames. So we should consolidate, come up, finish our third, consolidate again for our fourth, and finally go up for our fifth. And we'll come to those targets in a later video, but looks very good. And the important thing is we hold that A wave low. Don't close a candle below on the larger time frame. All right, guys, so that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.